If you're confused about your bench setup or you don't know if you have the right form, I'm going to show you a bench setup checklist from start to end to make sure you're getting the most out of your bench, get stronger, and hit PRs. This bench setup that I use has helped me break plateaus and hit high numbers on my bench from the 300 plus all the way up to 400 plus pounds. First thing is feet placement. Feet placement, it does vary on where you want to put your feet on the floor, but as long as you can feel the tension and the tightness being created on your quads and your glutes, that is what you want to have when you are benching. So this is also known as leg drive. This is very important because it does help you push more weight up when you're benching instead of just using your upper body by itself. So you're using your legs to help your upper body push the weight back up when you're benching. So one thing, guys, you want to make sure is your feet are flat on the floor, especially if you're competing. So you want to make sure your feet are flat so you can create the most force all the way up to your upper body and just to be more stabilized when you are benching. So for myself, I like to have my feet slightly under the bench and my toes pointing out just a little bit. That is a point where I can feel my quads and my glutes being engaged when I am benching. Some other people, they like to have their feet in front of the bench and their feet a bit closer to each other. Some like the same way that I do it. So it all depends on where you can feel that tension from the start and your glutes being engaged so that you know that your leg drive is being activated. So this next step is your hand placement on the bar. This will vary from person to person because everyone's body is different and everyone's arm length is different. So what I like to do is, just to start and keep things simple, is you want to make sure that your hand placement is shoulder width apart. What worked best for me was having my middle finger where that ring is on the bar. So I played around with so many different hand placements, and that was that one placement that felt the best for me. So what you want to do is obviously is shoulder width apart, but as long as when you're benching, your elbows aren't really tucked in or they're not flared out as much. If it's like right in the middle where that sweet spot is, then you're chilling. You don't want them too close, but you also don't want them too out wide. So this next part of the checklist, in my opinion, is probably one of the most important part of the bench press. It can either make or break your bench depending on if you're doing it right or wrong. This is creating tightness on your back and also digging your back into the bench as tight as you can, but also keeping that throughout the whole set. So as you can see in the video, what I like to do is I like to bring myself outside, pulling myself away from the bar, and then I like to retract my shoulder blades, tighten my back, engage my lats, and then slowly dig my back into the bench as I'm making my way back towards the bar. So how far back do I go? I like to go to the point where when I'm looking up, the bar is in between my chin and my nose. So at this point, you should be feeling a whole lot of tension and a whole lot of engagement on your back, your shoulder blades, and your legs. Quick note that when you're feeling this is something you should be feeling from the start before you unrack all the way until you're done your set. And at this point, you're ready to unrack the bar. So once you have the bar unracked, what you want to do is you want to create a big brace before you bring the bar down to your chest. Unlike the squat and deadlift, what you want to do is you want to take a deep, big breath into your stomach, so your diaphragm. But what has helped me a lot was in this case is take a deep breath, obviously engaging your core, but really taking a deep breath into my chest. So this has helped me a lot because one thing that it did was when I take a deep breath into my chest, it brings my chest more up and it makes my back a lot more tighter. So obviously this is a good thing because number one, the range of motion from the top to the bottom is shorter because now my chest went from like tucked in to more out, and it feels a lot more better on my back because I feel a lot more stabilized. So that sums up the bench press checklist. I'm going to give you guys a bonus tip on when you're performing your rep. So this is going to be about the bar path. So a mistake that a lot of people do is when they come down with the bar, they kind of do like a straight down motion and up. So if you want to maximize the amount of weight you guys can push on the bench, what you want to do is you kind of want to make a curved bar path. So you'll see on the side view when I'm benching, you can kind of see that I'm not going straight down and up. I'm kind of starting off, like I said, from my chin to nose area. Then once I come down, I make a curved bar path down to my chest. Then I do that same bar path motion coming back up. So if your bench is feeling wonky while you're doing your set, that might be why. So try that curve bar method. So there you go, guys. The bench press setup that I use till this day that has helped me bench over 400 pounds. Once you get the hang of this and it becomes second nature, your bench will literally increase within the next couple months or so. I guarantee you guys this. All you have to do is obviously stay consistent, be patient, and really work on the technique of this bench setup. So let me know how it goes. Like, comment, sub, all that kind of good stuff. I got my free community. Link is in the description. But as always, till next time, peace.